Hi everyone, thanks very much for joining me. So in this video I just want to talk about one movie for a change, and the movie I want to talk about, it's a movie that you can get through Kino Lorber. I have seen a number of other YouTubers who have picked it up, but it seems that they've picked it up because they like the look of the slipcover. I don't think they necessarily know what the movie is. So the movie I want to talk about is this one. It's Electra Glide In Blue from 1973. Starring Robert Blake and directed by James William Guercio, and this was the only film that he directed. So why do I want to talk about this one? You may have seen in my pickup video when I picked this up through the Kino Lorber sale, I mentioned in that video that I could look back and see when was the first time that I watched this film, and it was in May 1988. And the reason that I knew that was because at that time the great director Alex Cox, the director of Repo Man, he was doing a series on BBC television called Moviedrome, which was him introducing a whole series of cult movies and underappreciated movies. And episode number 2 was indeed talking about Electra Glide In Blue. So that was when I first saw it, and I've not seen it again until today. And the only thing that had really stuck in my mind was the closing shot of this film. And I'm not going to do any spoilers in this talk because I really do think that you should see it for yourself. But yeah, there's an incredible closing scene in this film which kind of leaves you scratching your head a little bit, but it's just hugely memorable, and obviously it's a scene that had stayed in my mind for many years. So that's why I wanted to buy this movie and see it again, and I'm so pleased that I have. Now, Robert Blake is perhaps best known for being in this film, in Cold Blood, which is the adaptation of Truman Capote novel, best-selling novel. So yeah, this was a big success. But he also starred, also around the same time in the 70s, in this one, which you can also get through Kino Lorber, which is Busting, where he plays a cop alongside Elliot Gould. And really this film, which is directed by Peter Hyams, is kind of seen as being one of the earlier forms of the cop buddy movie. And yeah, this is a great one to watch as well. Peter Hyams is a good fun director, and but this one's perhaps a better known for Elliot Gould's performance rather than Robert Blake's, although they're both very good in it. But anyway, in Electra Glide In Blue, what we essentially have here, it's a kind of a post-Vietnam era film. So this is made in 1973, and we've got Robert Blake as a diminutive Arizona motorcycle cop who has the ambition of getting a promotion. He doesn't want to be a motorcycle cop anymore. And then one day he happens across a death in the desert, which appears to be a suicide, but he has other ideas and thinks that perhaps it's a murder, and so he then manages to get involved in doing a murder investigation. And I won't give you any more spoilers than that, but really other than sort of saying that the kind of the theme of this movie is really about loneliness, ambition, male bravado, if you like, but also contrasting it with the period, the times, this kind of era in which we've got the sort of counterculture, hippie kind of era, and the distrust that there is in people at that time. So yeah, that's the rough kind of theme, I guess, for this movie. But like I say, I don't want to give any spoilers, so I really do think this film needs to be seen. But loads and loads of interesting things about this. So like I say, obviously Robert Blake is the main star in this, and he is absolutely fantastic in the role. But we also have some incredible supporting cast in this. So in smaller roles we have Elisha Cook Jr. Elisha Cook Jr. is a long-running actor who's been in a good couple of hundred films, but died in the late 80s, I think. For me, he's very, very significant for having starred as Stonewall Jackson in the 1953 movie Shane, and that movie will always stay in my mind for having a very memorable death scene that he had, where he gets shot down by Jack Palance in that movie. But yeah, he gives a great supporting role in this film. Another great supporting actor is Royal Dano as the coroner in this. Now, Royal Dano, again, has had a very long career, but some people may be more familiar with him in terms of some of his late career work, because then he got into sort of starring in some of the sort of horror movies such as Ghoulies 2 and House 2, The Second Story, and a few movies like that. The Dark Half, I think he was in that as well. I think that was his final film. But yeah, long time actor, but yeah, his performance in this is really good. And then the other great performance as the main police investigating officer in this is Mitchell Ryan. Really hard-nosed performance that he gives in this, and it's just a superb performance. On the Blu-ray that we get, there's a nice little interview with him, which was recorded presumably very recently, because sadly he died in 2022, and Robert Blake actually only died earlier this year in March 2023. But yeah, Mitchell Ryan, I mean, had an incredible 1973, as well as starring in Electra Glide in Blue. He was also in High Plains Drifter, The Friends of Eddie Coyle, and what's the other one? Yeah, Magnum Force. So yeah, what an incredible 1973 that was for him. So yeah, fantastic cast. And then we come on to the cinematography. So the cinematography in this is by the veteran Conrad Hall. So Conrad Hall had also been the cinematographer on In Cold Blood. He's worked in more recent years, I guess, with Sam Mendes in American Beauty and Road to Perdition. He was the cinematographer on Marathon Man and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Harper. So yeah, superb cinematographer. And it's interesting to note that on the commentary for this film, the director, and remember, he's a one-time director, it's the only film he's ever directed, he actually gave his salary to Conrad Hall, because Conrad Hall was the essential ingredient for this film. And Conrad Hall's cinematography in this is just outstanding. And like I say, when you get to that final scene and that final shot, it will stay with you. It is a superb one. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm so glad that I've finally got to see it again after all these years. It definitely climbs up into my favourites list for sure. So I do hope that people will check it out and take it out of its slipcover. Movies aren't just about slipcovers. Enjoy them. Sorry, I'm sounding like an old grumpy man now. Sorry. Anyway. What else shall I say? Also in this movie, there is some great music. The director, James William Guercio, was also a music producer, so he does a lot of the music writing in this film. And there's a really interesting performance from a 70s prog rock band called Madura that you see sort of midway through the film. I'd never heard of them before, but yeah, that's quite an interesting scene. So there we have it. That's just a few brief comments about Electra Glide in Blue. So like I say, please do check this film out if you haven't done so already. You can get it through Kino Lorber. Look at all these great extras on the back. You get a nice interview with Mitchell Ryan, with Robert Barris. Oh yeah, I should say Robert Barris, who is the scriptwriter on this. So again, this was one of his first scripts. Although interestingly enough, just before he did the script for this, and about 10 years after, he did two films that feature strong helicopter chases. So the first one was a film in 1973 called Birds of Prey, starring David Janssen, and then the one in 1982, which is a movie that I remember from when I was a kid. It's called Deadly Encounter, that stars Larry Hagman, and that was a made-for-TV movie. So yeah, I want to see that again now, but it's been many years. But yeah, Robert Barris, he's had a script writing career, and he also directed a movie as well. Some people who are Rob Lowe fans will have perhaps seen the film Oxford Blues. He wrote and directed that, and interestingly, Oxford Blues also has a co-starring role for Julian Sands, the actor who has recently, it seems, been lost on a mountain and I think the remains have now been found. So yeah, anyway, that's a bit of a digression, but so a little bit of context there about who's in this and who does what. But yeah, great movie. I do hope you'll check it out. This is an absolute classic as far as I'm concerned, a great movie of the 70s. Admittedly, some of the story will I don't know, get a little bit lost at times, and I think they had to do a few script changes during the course of the making of the film. So yeah, be prepared to be a little bit confused at times, but that's okay. This is a real atmosphere movie, and it's shot in Arizona. You've got the whole Monument Valley area as well, which just looks stunning. And one final thing as well is look very quickly, and in fact I'm sure you won't see it because you'll need the director to tell you where it is, but Nick Nolte has a very brief appearance in this, but no speaking line. He's just standing in a crowd. He was only about 20 at the time. So there you go, that's another interesting reason to see Electra Glide in Blue. And yes, it is a great slipcover. Okay, that's it for now. Please do join me again for some more movie talk and hauls and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for sticking with me if you made it this far. All the best. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.